Hello, this is Heather Quick, the owner of the Quick Law Group. I am here to talk today about 2018. It's very exciting at the beginning of every new year, and I think it brings with it a lot of excitement, and it's a new year, new beginnings. In the world of divorce law and family law, which is what the Quick Law Group does, we focus on divorce and family law for women only, and we are the only firm that does that. And what I have found in my many years of experience is that January is a busy time. I think it's for many reasons. One, just the beginning of a new year. It really creates an opportunity for change and inspires individuals to do something different. And secondly, the holiday season sometimes can be very long and painful for many people. It tends to begin in November with Thanksgiving, and although for some of us it's really happy, a lot of others there's just a lot of family time and maybe just stress of personal relationships, family relationships. Things tend to get magnified, I think, over the holidays. So at the close of the holidays, which is what happens at December 31st and the beginning of the new year, I have experienced many individuals are just ready to move forward with their life. And so we'll see so many at the beginning of the new year ready to begin that first step. And that's what I wanted to talk to you today about, is how you can make 2018 really just the best year and move forward, put the past behind you, and begin to experience really, all that you were meant to, and really who you were meant to be. So I want to begin this because, and I have this conversation with my family, with my staff at the beginning of every new year, because I know we all hear a lot about New Year's resolutions. And I would challenge you to maybe make some goals. And let's talk about the differences, because with a resolution, it's a decision to do or not do something. And I think a lot of that has to be with what you think you should do or should not do. I think with everybody, you're gonna have like lose weight or be nicer, drink less, a lot of those things. But when we talk about goals, goal just has a different meaning, one in its definition, but I think even when you are looking at setting a goal for yourself, it just creates a different response in your body because it tends to be more powerful. It really is the object of a person's ambition or effort. It's really something you want to achieve. So that's where I would really suggest that we set goals for a new year. And those can be in so many realms of our life, personally, professionally, and financially. And when you are struggling in a marriage and trying to determine what it is you want to do, all of those areas of your life are affected. And if you're able to set that goal that this year is going to be different, you're going to make some different decisions, and you're ready to really live the life you were meant to live, and not settling for a relationship that is really not serving you or the other person, because the reality is relationships do take two. And most likely, if you're not happy or fulfilled, the other person isn't either. And the question is, how much are you going to tolerate? Is there a lack of respect by either party? Is it just not fulfilling to either of you or those around you? And that has to do with a lot of the aspects of your personal life, but I would submit and challenge you to really say, hey, if the relationship isn't working, probably there are a lot of other areas of my life that it's just rolling over into, and that can be your finances. Big thing within divorce, we'll talk a lot about that, and I'll delve into some of that here. That's really financial freedom, and how is a divorce going to affect that? Yes, on the personal side. One, it may be scary to leave even a bad relationship, because then what's next? And then there's also the question of finances. What's going to happen with that as well, which I will address some of those issues also. And then professionally, it may be that your career is going really well. What is a divorce going to do to you? It may shake up your home life and put a little bit more stressors on you than maybe you're willing to do or you've been willing to do in the past. But if maybe you can clear that up, I think that most individuals find that when they have more peace at home, their professional life does flourish. And or maybe you've put your career on hold or not so much, and then you're looking at, well, what is this going to mean for me in 2018? Am I going to need to restart my career? And I haven't done that in the past. How is that going to change? So I think all of those areas are things that we as women, as humans, all struggle with, particularly when we're faced with the issue of, okay, I've got to move forward with a divorce. This is going to be the year that I am going to put myself first and take care of myself, with the goal that that's going to take care of everyone else as well. I really think that as women, we tend to say, oh, I'm not going to put myself first, and put everybody else first. We're caregivers, nurturers, and certainly with our children and our husbands, other family, we may not put ourselves first. And what tends to happen, though, is as you wear down, everyone else is really left wondering what to do. When you're on the airplane and they talk to you about the air mask, when it falls down, they don't tell you to put it on your children first. They tell you to put it on yourself first and then put it on your children. And really that's what I'm talking about when we're talking about taking care of yourself. The rest of your family is suffering if you are not really taking care of your needs and in your health and your spiritual needs, your emotional and physical. It really does matter, and it's not selfish. It's actually the most selfless thing you can do to take care of yourself so that you can really provide more love and support to your family, to your clients, your work, all of those things. And I think when we reframe it in that way and really begin to look at what taking care of ourselves would really mean for others, it changes that whole dynamic, and then you can stop beating yourself up thinking, oh, I'm taking care of myself and I'm being so selfish, because really it's not. And I have that conversation with so many clients, as do all my attorneys. We talk to our clients many times. They're very concerned about what this will do to their children. And what about the family relationships that may or may not survive a divorce? And those are difficult questions, and no one can truly predict the future. But I give kids a lot of credit just as far as what they notice and what they learn, and they know things aren't right. So I think that we may kid ourselves to think that they think they live in this perfect ideal home when it's not. And that maybe being honest and showing our children how we can stand up for ourselves, or how we can say, hey, this is not good for either of us, and your parents will both be better off if we can be in separate and provide more love to you. And those are things that we as attorneys can't make those decisions for you. We can certainly have that conversation, but I just think that when we ask ourselves and we look at that, and most of us will agree our kids are pretty smart and they pick up on a lot, and what are we teaching them by staying in a relationship that's not healthy? And those are some of the things within the new year. If you're going to make some goals for yourself personally, those are the hardest ones, I think, because maybe how do we measure that? Is it that I'm not happy? That is, people say that all the time. And I don't know how you measure that, because sometimes we're not going to always be happy 100% of the time. But you look at whether things are serving you. At the one extreme is, of course, dangerous. If anything's dangerous or violence, that's clearly not safe. There are a lot of times where, we'll see a lot of the relationships there's just a lot of control, a lot of the patterns where the husband is just very narcissistic and controlling and basically pretty self-obsessed. It's very hard to live with somebody and it's really truly not even a relationship, because they're kind of living all on their own. And so many women feel just so alone in that circumstance, don't know what to do, don't believe that really anybody would understand. But we see that pattern a lot, and we see that in high achieving professional men and women, that there's a great facade on the outside, but on the inside and behind closed doors, it's not a happy relationship. It's really not any kind of communication. And those are some of the ways you measure that, and looking at what kind of communication there is, and then how your children assess that. And those are things that, you know, are beyond the scope of, say, the law, because you may think, oh, this is going in more into therapy, but there are issues that are going to come up, and they are going to be issues that we're going to talk about with you here. And of course, we always encourage you to look at talking to a counselor, because this is not a problem that happened overnight, and it's not going to be solved overnight. But the first step is taking action so that you recognize this isn't a healthy relationship and I need to move outside of it. The next biggest goal issue is when we talk about finances. And again, the first of the year, it's a good time to set goals and think, hey, I'm financially either independent, maybe we keep finances the same, but how is that going to affect it because we're both pouring our money into, you know, a joint household, or I'm not financially independent. I'm concerned, you know, with how this is going to affect me with a divorce. And you know, one of those things, and we also I think of January, and especially right now, at the end of 2017, there's all of this news talk about the tax reform. So taxes are always a big issue that tend to come up. And now when trust me, I don't even know how many pages it is, but it's over a few hundred pages of the new tax reform legislation. I paid attention to the parts that really pertain to family law, and that would be alimony. And that's going to be effective at the end of 2018 and 19, but it certainly affects you right now in January, because most individuals get their W-2s. We're going to be filing taxes. We want to, you know, you want to know, how is this going to affect me? Am I going to get the return, and then I'm going to be able to move forward with the divorce? And we can talk to you about those various issues, because taxes, it's not as simple as now you're single. It may seem that way, but the more property you own, or businesses, houses, deductions, there are a lot more issues that we really tend to go into and bring in a CPA to talk about, because not all assets are created equal. You know, when we're splitting up assets in the divorce, things may have different tax treatments. And so for that reason, we look at, you know, we'll look at what is in the best interest for you. Really, what are your goals? Are you looking to have more financial freedom than you've had currently? That is a big issue, even in marriages that there is, say you're even, you know, contributing and you're earning money, he's earning money, but there might be that control aspect, or there's some secrecy about, you know, where are things, what are our accounts worth? That creates a lot of fear, because it's just the unknown. So we'll delve into that, because a big goal, I think, for so many women is just to have a handle on it. And it can be scary, because you thought, well, my husband's handled the finances, now what do I do? And trust me, you're not alone, even if you're a professional woman who's earned the money, but your husband has managed the investments, or maybe you think he's got a better relationship with the financial advisor. I've seen that many times, and it can just create that fear, well, you know, what will happen? Within a divorce, one, you know, there is a standing order that that the courts issue in every case, so that nobody can really withdraw money from accounts, make serious changes once we've filed for divorce. Because that's a big concern. What's going to happen when we filed for divorce? And really, the actual, you know, once we draft everything and file it, there's not going to be a major shift in anything that will happen. That will come later. And many women are have a concern. Now that I've hired you, are they going to know right away? Do we file right away? It's going to depend on what your goals are and really what we want to achieve for you, because timing is essential. And we talk about that in the strategy and planning for, again, going back to goals. And that's why I wanted to start with that, because, you know, whether you've really thought about it or not, planning and making goals are a wonderful way to really set the course for where you're going to go in your future. And we do that as part of the divorce process, because not every person is the same. Everybody has different goals and desires, and if I don't ask, and as your attorneys, we don't all plan for where your goal, you know, what we want, what you want, we may put our own thoughts on that, just because we're human beings. Think, oh, well, this is what you want. You want the house, and you know, want the kids all the time or half the time. You know, we may impose what we want on it. and rather than ask you, well, what are your goals? Where do you want to live? Do you want to remain in this house? Or do you want to maybe move to another school district, something smaller? If we don't ask you, then our strategy is going to be based on, going somewhere that maybe you don't want to go. And that's part of it with financial freedom. Is it alimony? What is your financial situation? Maybe you want certain investments over others to help supplement your income, or there are certain assets that mean something to you, and as we really divide them all up, they're going to be better for you. Again, going back to that financial freedom and where you want to be. It's really important, and it's not to, my goal here is not to make you afraid or think, oh my gosh, I haven't thought of any of this stuff, but it's to raise your awareness so that you'll know these are the kind of conversations that you'll be having with your attorney, and we're going to help you figure that out. And in my experience, most of the goals that very first meeting with, with our clients when we're preparing for divorce or you've already been served, and those goals are probably going to change throughout the divorce process, which tends to take about 9 to 12 months, is average. And that's okay. They should, because really once you make this decision of moving forward with your life and really changing, where you're going this year, you're going to grow a lot and things are going to change. And as you maybe have separate houses and look at that, you're going to just begin to look at things differently. And our goal is to help you change your goals and adjust your strategy throughout that time. In the month of January of 2018, what we at the Quick Law Group are hoping to do for you is help you chart your new future and create this new life that you deserve, and help you understand really where you want to be. For the first 2 weeks in January, we are going to offer a discount consult rate of $100. And that is just our New Year's gift to you to really help you invest in yourself and the new you that you want to be in 2018. This is a really good time because your W-2s are going to be coming out for both you and your husband, and you're going to want to meet with us before those come out and filing begins, because there are certain things that you may want to do to capture those deductions as well as any refunds that may be coming, and how we can help you with that, even if you haven't filed yet. So we would like to speak with you before then, so that's why we're offering that discounted rate through January 15th if you come in before then, because that really gives us enough time to help you answer those questions for you and help begin to strategize and plan your goals before we start filing for taxes. And we welcome the opportunity to meet with you and help you so that you can be the best you that you're capable of.